Hello and welcome to another video for Malta Besieged 1941-42 Worthington Games by Steve Carey. We're just about to get into the third epoch, the third stack of cards we shuffled here. Not particularly confident, I must admit here. Africa Corps is knocking on the door of Alamein, and well, we just get the Rommel attacks card coming through. Is it going to be tough? Let's see how far we go. Hopefully we can get to the end and get a win. So to start off, we got our headline phase here, Rommel attacks. Let's read what the card says. On January the 4th, 1942, Malta-based bombers raided German airfields in Sicily, but the Luftwaffe still dominated Malta's skies. Rommel began his new offensive on 21st January, pushing back the British and recapturing Benghazi. The British then established the Gazala defensive line as Malta was being reduced to rubble. So, what do we have in our military phase? We have no convoy, but we do have the Luftwaffe moving forward, Regia Aeronautica, Africa Corps, and, well, it's going to try and get into Alamein, and we need to make a dice roll here, see if we get we need a 1, 2 or 3 to stop them. We get that, so the Africa Corps is stopped by fort in Alamein, and it tells us to put the fort unit down, but we've already done that. Okay, so resources, -1 morale, always welcome. And for our orders phase, we have a -1 DRM for all resources, and we have a +1 for U-boats, useful. And fortify, not as useful. Okay, we have 3 actions. We have a 0 Rommel situation modifier here. We could look at doing a raid to try and push this up, but we do have the Regia Aeronautica very close to Malta, so I think that's really our priority, so we will attack them. 2's not good enough. We kind of have to do it again. That's better. But we only have 1 action left now. The U-boats possibly going for a raid for Africa Corps. We don't get any pluses here. As I'm kind of getting with this game, go with the DRMs if you haven't got anything else indicating what you should do. So we're going to go for the U-boats there, anything but a 1. That's great, they go back. Right, that's our orders phase done. Housekeeping, no convoy, no victory or defeat quite yet, and we refresh the map. Next card. On the headline we have a change of command, only 2 actions. On the 13th August 1942, General Montgomery assumed command of the British 8th Army, while General Alexander took over as Commander-in-Chief in the Middle East. The island of Malta was starving to death and very near breaking point, as a black market thrived and its capital, Valletta, lay in ruins. Okay. So on the military side here, we have you must advance your choice of any 2 Axis fronts. During the housekeeping phase, apply a player harmful +1 DRM to the Operation Hercules roll if it is checked this turn. So if somebody gets to Malta. So here we're going to push forward. I think we'll certainly push forward the U-boats. I don't really want to push forward the Africa Corps, but I can help it. Let's push forward the Regia Marina, I think. Okay, resources +1 military. Oh, this is the military from being very low earlier on in the last epoch has certainly improved. We have a -DRM for supply, which is not a problem, and we have a +2 DRM for raid. Now that is welcome, but we only have 2 actions. I think we have to push back the Regia Marina, certainly. So let's do that as a priority. Six does it. Now I think we really should go for that raid. So it's a +2 RL modifier. That'll be very good if we can get it. Yeah, that works. So that marker goes up as well. So we have no Operation Hercules, nobody's in Malta. So the housekeeping phase, that doesn't become a problem. There's no convoy, we just do a clean-up here. So we seem to be surviving. Headline for our next card: the First Battle of El Alamein. So this says, as Rommel continued his relentless pursuit, a delaying action at Mersa Matruh at the end of June 1942 found Commonwealth forces falling back on El Alamein without enough armoured support. The capture of Cairo seemed imminent. The ensuing month-long conflict exhausted both sides and proved indecisive. Okay. Right, so what have we got advancing here? So we have the Luftwaffe advancing. Oh dear. The Africa Corps advances 2 spaces, and the little spiel on it says 2 times advances 2 spaces this turn, but only if a fort unit is in the first space. Okay, so we have 2 attempts to get past El Alamein by Rommel. Let's see how we go. He does it. So the El Alamein goes, and he advances twice. That's a real problem. Okay, so Rommel's situation moves up, and we have the Spitfire ready marker. So the Spitfire's ready marker is available, which we put near Malta. Now we can use that as a +1 DRM versus the Luftwaffe and Regia Aeronautica, or we can use it for the air support on convoys if we want to from now on. It gets refreshed every turn as well, which is good. Okay, on resources, -1 military, easy come easy go. -1 supply, but we have the Spitfire marker in its ready box. Is there an actual box for it? Can't see one, but we'll place it here anyway. Right, okay, we have 3 actions. Our DRMs are supply and raid -1. +1 on the Luftwaffe, Africa Corps, and fortify. So our priority here is definitely the Africa Corps here. Africa Corps marker gets there, we lose. We have the Rommel situation in the best position, and we have a +1 here. So we'll certainly do that. So our first try will be that. And we have a +3 on the dice. That's good enough. I'm inclined to do it again. The Rommel situation is still a +1, so we've got a +2 on the dice. It works again. And that is now only a +1. I think we need to deal with the Luftwaffe here, so we will commit the Spitfires, and we will get a +2 versus the Luftwaffe. Yep, that works as well. Okay, that's our orders phase, the housekeeping phase. We will flip the Spitfires back, remove the DRMs, and that's us for the turn. Next card. Battle of Gazala. Rommel launched a major attack against the Gazala line on 26th May 1942. Unexpectedly fierce Free French resistance at Bir Hakeim threatened Axis supplies. The desert battle raged in the cauldron, with the British suffering heavy tank losses. making 13th June as Black Sunday. The next day the British began a withdrawal. Okay, so on the military side we have the Luftwaffe again advancing. We have the Regia Aeronautica advancing. This is all getting rather close. We have the Afrika Korps advancing, and we have a Tobruk reduction, but it's not there anyway. -1 military, -1 supply. This is starting to tell this. A -1 DRM for a raid, +1 for military and Luftwaffe. We are not allowed to do any fortify actions. I don't think we want to do some anyway. So we have 3 actions. I think certainly pushing the Luftwaffe back is a very good idea. We have the Spitfires here, so we get the +1 from the Spitfires there. That pushes that back. We don't have anything on the Regia, but I think we should push them back as well. Yep. And finally, Afrika Korps or U-boats. It's got to be the Afrika Korps. We don't have any modifiers, but I think it's worth a try. It works. That's the end of that turn. What have we got next turn as the headline? The Battle of Halfa. The Battle of Halfa. On the 30th August 1942, Rommel attempted to break through south of Alamein to encircle the British Army. The plan failed and Rommel was defeated by 5th of September, having been forced to fall back to his start positions. Montgomery paused to conserve, reform and build up his forces for a subsequent offensive of his own. The Afrika Korps here goes forward, and with the Ultra, if we spend the Ultra marker to receive a failure result, you cannot repurchase it this turn. If it succeeds, in addition, you gain +1 DRM versus the Afrika Korps. I think that's a good indication of trying to use Ultra, I think, as one of the actions. We don't get any resources. We have a +1 for military. Oh, we didn't withdraw our DRMs last turn. +1 for military. +1 for fortify. And raid. And we have the special Ultra. So I think we will try and commit Ultra. We need to roll. If we get a 1, it is not available and we can't repurchase it this turn by the special roll. It is available, and we can place a +1 marker on the Afrika Korps, and then we also get an addition +1 marker on the Afrika Korps. Okay, so on our turn, for our 2 actions, that isn't actually an action. We can certainly have a go at the Afrika Korps here. We've got a +2 for the moment, so let's work with that. But there is a -1 here, so it may be worth actually doing a raid first to try and get rid of that -1. Let's try and do that. We'll go for the raid. That's a failure. We'll try it with the Afrika Korps anyway. And we have +2. That's a 5. That works. So we have used Ultra, but we've got the Afrika Korps going backwards. That's the end of our turn. Turn the Spitfires over. We didn't really use them, and because we pushed the Afrika Korps back, they're on the -2 now. On to the next turn. We have Operation Torch. Now this should be exciting. On 8th November 1942, Allied landings in Morocco and Algeria opened up a second front in North Africa that would eventually trap the Afrika Korps both in front and behind. What the Vichy French reaction would be was unknown. In the end, they offered the Allies only token resistance. The strategic tide had turned. I hope so. So, military. Each of these 4 Axis fronts retreats 2 spaces. So that is the Luftwaffe, the Regia Aeronautica, the Regia Marina, U-boats, and the Rommel situation goes up by 1. We get -1 supply, but +1 morale. We have a +1 DRM for raid, and we have a special ultra here. We don't actually have ultra ready here, but let's see. If we spend the ultra marker in the orders phase and succeed, instead roll a die for your total number of actions this turn. Instead, on a 1 or a 2 it's 2 actions, 3 or 4 it's 3 actions, or a 6 it's 5 or 6 it's 4 actions. Okay, so I think what we could do is we could spend our 1 action here buying ultra, then spending it to create a positive modifier, and I think we might do that onto the Africa core. That's our 1. Is that's not an action though, I think. We'll do that, and then we get to roll the dice to see how many actions we actually do have. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. It might be that we needed to have ultra there already. I think we're okay. So let's roll the dice to see how many actions we actually get, having spent 1. A 3 gives us 3 actions. So we have 2 more actions here. I think certainly a raid is an idea. That fails. So we've got 1 action left. I think we'll use the ultra +1 on the Africa core anyway, seeing as we are placing it there. We have a -1 on the Rommel situation, so it's a straight roll. Oh, that works. And the ultra is used. And then we clean up. Yeah, that's a very good card that for us. Let's go for the next card, Operation Bowery. Malta was so heavily mined it was nigh unapproachable. During May 1942, combined Anglo-American carrier operations relocated 80 Spitfires to Malta, greatly bolstering its air defences. Meanwhile, elements of the Luftwaffe prepared to withdraw to Europe in support of the summer 1942 campaign in southern Russia. So, in the military we get U-boats moving up, but the Luftwaffe is reduced to the value 3. It's already a value 3. It does not advance. It reduces, it doesn't retreat, so nothing changes there. Resources +1 military. Okay, going back up the right direction. Supply is -1. Raid is -1. Military is +1. And Regia Aeronautica is +1. Well, they're not really much of a problem anymore, I would say. We still, I think, need to get going on the Africa core. I think that marker should be there. I think now, from last turn, I've got to move it. We could fortify, bring Alamein back. So let's bring Alamein back for 1. So 2 is better than 1, so that gets in. Oh, that's the Tobruk marker, sorry. The Alamein marker, that's a better one. I think we should try and get another military, I think. We're on +1 here, so again, use the +1s when you can. Regia Aeronautica is far away, so I don't think we need to worry about that. The alternative was possibly the U-boats. Maybe the U-boats, actually. We'll attack the U-boats, and that works. It would have worked on the military, but there you go. Good. So that was the Africa call for 1, U-boats for the 2nd. I think the 3rd one is we'll bring Ultra back. That's our 3 actions, I believe. No, we actually, yeah, El Alamein. It wasn't the Africa call backwards, it was El Alamein, fortify, U-boats, and Ultra. Yeah, that's our 3 actions. Let's remove the DRMs for cleanup. Let's move on to the next card. We have Operation Calendar, 2 actions. The US carrier Wasp delivered 4 dozen Spitfires to Malta on the 20th April 1942, but the Luftwaffe soon destroyed many of them on the ground and in the air. Malta had become unreliable as a naval base and disease spread. The ace submarine HMS Upholder was lost at sea. King George V bestowed the George Cross on Malta's civilians. Okay, military. Remove the Cunningham marker. It should actually be available. That remove from play. So that comes out here. The Luftwaffe advance, Regia Aeronautica advance, and the Spitfires are not ready, so they're already used. Resources +1 morale, nice. We have a -2 DRM on raids. Okay, well, we're not going after the Africa call. We have -1 on the Luftwaffe and all resources. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, we could fortify El Alamein more, so let's do that. We need greater than the 2. For our 2 actions, that doesn't work. I think we'll do it again. That's our biggest threat now. Yes, that works. So it flips over to the 3. Okay, that's all. We have the cleanup to do. And now we move on to the next card, which is the 2nd Battle of Cert, and it's a convoy action. Got the red stripe. As Allied cooperation increased, resupply attempts from Alexandria were made with cruiser and destroyer escorts, but these were scattered on the 22nd of March 1942. The British fought against overwhelming odds, and 80% of the convoy's cargo was lost, with the famed fast merchant ship Breckenshire also sunk. So on the military side, we have the Luftwaffe coming back, we have the Regia Marina coming back, and Regia Aeronautica. And then we flip them over because we have a convoy arriving. Okay, so this is the 2nd Battle of Cert. So this is this one here. So let's roll to see of any convoy hit. So we start with the U-boats on a 5 or a 6. Do we want to use Ultra? How much? There is some possibilities of critical hits here and here on 6s. I'm going to risk it. I'm not going to use Ultra. So U-boats first, 5 or a 6. That's 1 hit from the U-boats. We have the Luftwaffe here. A 3 is another hit. Regia Aeronautica here. That's another hit. Ouch. Finally the Regia Marina on a 4 to 6. Missed. Okay, so we have 3 hits, 3 convoy hits. So we leave the convoy for the moment. And we've done our military. We're on to resources, -1 to all resources. Oh, wow. So that means we have run out of supply. Running out of supply means we cannot raid, and -1 DRM on all attacks. That's not funny. Okay. So we need some supply back. And our DRMs, -1 for supply. Great. -1 for fortify. Oops, that resources shouldn't be there anymore. And raid. well, very useful things. We have a +1 on any active Axis front of our choice. Ooh. Africa Corps is difficult. We've got a -2 at the moment and a -1 raid, so there's not a lot of point in doing that. I think maybe the Luftwaffe. That's probably the best one to do that with, so let's add that. And we have 3 orders. Okay, so one order, one thing we could do with our Spitfires, we could commit them to covering the convoy, and we do need that supply, and I think we will do that. So Spitfires ready will be on convoy support in the second battle of Cert. Yeah, so convoy support there. Unfortunately we have -1 Durham modder for all attacks, -1 on fortify, well, and -1 on raid, gosh, and -1 on supply. None of it's good. I think we should -1 on all attacks. Well, the Luftwaffe is then a 3. That's, yeah, we'll go with that. We could use Ultra to give us a +1 on something. We'll go for the Luftwaffe on a 4, 5 or 6. We do push it back, okay. Something at least. What else can we spend it on? A raid is pointless. We could spend it on morale. Our bonus for morale is re-roll a resource or raid action. That might be nice to follow up. Regia Aeronautica is close. Maybe 1 there. Maybe 1 on the Regia Aeronautica, but on the -1 I'm afraid. And that's not good enough. We'll go for the morale, I think. Yeah, let's go for the morale. That's the easiest, but not on a 1. That doesn't work. We're left with the orders phase 1 to housekeeping, and we do have a convoy here. Now we have, oh, it's quite nasty dice rolls here. We need a 1 to get no loss. Gosh. We do have a -1 because of the Spitfires, and so we'll just have to roll, I suppose. So first hit with a -1 on the dice. A 4 goes to a 3. That's a 1 supply lost. And the second hit, 4 goes to a 3. Yep, that's a hit on that supply as well, so there's no effect. Just this one to survive. A 1, yes, no loss. So we do get a supply coming through, which is great. Which does give us a bonus action. We now don't have the -1 DRM for attacks, so I think we might go for the Regia Aeronautica for our bonus activation. No, so oh well, it doesn't work anyway. But we got our supply up. That's great. Let's clean up and let's go for the next card. In fact, I think I'll hold it there for this video. So hopefully you can join me for the next one when we'll be getting to the back end of the 3rd epoch. And I'll see you then. Bye for now.